Now, our next speaker, very exciting. She was outlining, I like to talk and find out what's going on in people's minds and get to know the speakers a little bit. And Marianne Gillespie, she described herself as a person that drives a white car, and that she was a coach, and she was very, very humble in describing herself. And as I did some research, she is the #1 business coach, hands down, in North America, if not the world. She creates 150 millionaires consistently every single year. And her license plate says, "Dream Bigger." So I was very impressed with her humility and how impressive she is. So Marianne Gillespie is the CEO of Red Apple Coaching and Consulting, and her talk today is about the investor mindset and how to think bigger. So come on up, and we look forward to hearing this. This is great.
Awesome, awesome. We're just getting the technology over there ready here because this is not my forte, so we're just going to get the slides up here, and Tony's going to help us with that in a second. Thank you also. It's very difficult to... Perfect. All right. We just got to get it hooked up here. And, of course, things don't always work the way you want them to. So our tech guy, if you want to come out here and maybe give us a little bit of a hand. Otherwise, it's going to get really awkward really fast. All right, so if we can just figure out why this thing isn't working now, that would be great. Anyway, thank you very much for coming out here this morning. I know it's really a lot of sacrifice on a Saturday, especially the first Saturday that we've seen with good weather. So if we can't get this PowerPoint moving, then we'll just end up using it manually. So where are we at? There we go. All right, I'm going to get started a little bit while we're working on this. So you've heard a little bit about my bio, and what my goal is right now is to actually tell you a little bit about how the brain works. And so it has nothing to do with buying or investing in real estate or anything like that, but we're going to get started on this right now. So if there's a manual way to do this, I can absolutely make it work. All right, my apologies, guys. Here we go. Perfect. Takes a little bit of time for technology. All right, so a little bit about who I am. So I was born and raised in Montreal before coming to Ottawa. The other thing about me is that I came from an average family. Nothing, our biggest goal in our family was really to pay off the house, typical workers, have low debt. That was fantastic. I was told I was never amazing at school, so I was always kind of a little bit bored. So I was told basically that I should aspire to be a secretary and by the guidance counselor, in writing, by the way. And the best advice is I should marry a rich man. So I thought that was my programming. It was very inspiring. Anyway, I'm a cancer survivor. Like I'm sure there's many of you in this room at this point. We seem to be growing in numbers. And just before university, my parents, I lost them. So my mother had passed away of an aneurysm and my father mental illness. So basically what that led to, my story was I was homeless for a year. One of the things that I learned about being homeless for the year was I had 15 minutes. The police had showed up after I went through all of this, and they showed up and said, you have 15 minutes to collect everything you can out of the house, and you're gone. And I was like, what am I supposed to do with that? So I had nowhere to go. And so that led me to be homeless for a year. And the first time I realized it was at that moment the value of home ownership and the value and the importance of having a home. So that led me into thinking about things, and I started studying. Because my mom had passed away of an aneurysm, I started thinking about the brain, and I really got involved in neurosciences, because you can go one way or another when you're dealt a hand like that, and it is really difficult. When you have nothing, it is very difficult to recover from that. So who am I today? We'll fast forward to that. I'm the CEO of Red Apple Coaching, Consulting, and Business Firm. I'm nominated Businesswoman of the Year. I've been published in Forbes magazine 7 times. I work with over 400 of the top producing business owners and real estate CEOs in Canada and United States with net profits of over $2 million minimum. We have a 98% success rate with our clientele and 97% retention rate. Why is that important? If you ever do go and hire wealth coaches or business coaches or anything like that, you really need to make sure that you ask that question. What is your success percentage and what is your retention rate? That is probably the biggest key performance indicator. The average in the industry is about 30% in both of those categories, just so you know. Successful investor, and I love investing, and I also love my investment properties. I'm an NLP practitioner, that's neurosciences. I'm Disney leadership trained, so I went to Disney and became leadership trained, and I'm sitting on the Forbes Coaching Council. I've ran 7 marathons, 1 ultra. I'm doing my first Ironman in June, and I'm running the Chicago Marathon at the end of this year, so I'm kind of crazy. I did not become a secretary, clearly. I did not marry someone rich. I mean, my husband's at the back of the room, and he can attest to that. And I am absolutely one of the worst surfers in the world, so if you ever see me in the water, you need to get away from me. And one of the most important things is that I do believe that abundance and scarcity is a mindset that we live with, and you sit on one of both sides of that, and it can make the biggest difference, and that's what we're going to talk about today. In business coaching, one of the most important things that I'm always asked is, how do I get so many people to become millionaires so quickly? How do we do that? What do we do? What's the difference? All that kind of stuff. It's the number one question. And people always ask me, they say, how did that person become so successful? So what are they doing that I'm actually not doing? And that's a loaded question, because you know what? It's different for everybody. But the brain, I want to just start by saying, and we're going to get a little geeky today, but the brain can actually, it can't think of anything that you can't do. So, for example, I hate dentists. If there's a dentist in the room, I apologize in advance. I can't stand you guys. I can't stand getting my teeth done. I don't like it. Just sitting there is gross. I don't like people picking at things. It's just not fun. So anyway, my brain never thinks, hey, why don't you go become a dentist? It's not possible. So you can't do that. And my brain tells me I don't have the makeup, I don't have anything in me to become a dentist. So if you're thinking and you're sitting in this room and you're going, I want to be one of the most powerful real estate investors. I want to take what the mayor said and actually start investing. I want to make a difference in this world. Maybe you want to be a philanthropist. Maybe you want to solve homelessness. I don't know what it is that's pondering through your brain, but whatever it is, the brain doesn't have the power to think of something that you don't already have in you to do. Okay, it takes everything. Your brain doesn't actually control you, you control it, which is kind of fascinating. So everybody asks me that question, and the answer is that people who are massively successful, they've just programmed their brain differently. If you really look at it, mindset is one of the most powerful things. I lost everything. I had nothing. And I didn't just have that once. There's a whole different story. It was twice that I had nothing. But the part where I was homeless, to go from that to go to where I am today and to not listen to all the programming that I had in my life telling me that I couldn't do something took a lot of work. And that's why I started studying the brain. So when we're looking at Facebook, I love posts like this. I pulled this off somebody's Facebook account. It says 95% of your life is created by your subconscious mind. I love seeing these posts on Facebook because people look at these posts and they go, yeah, 95%, absolutely. And nobody has a clue what that means. They don't have a clue. So they're like, hey, that sounds really great. So what does that mean? And what that means is that, you know what, your subconscious mind, and we're going to get a little geeky here, looks like this. So you have a conscious part of your brain and you have a subconscious part of your brain. And this is going to get interesting, so we're not going to read all this, but what I want you guys to think about is just picture your brain and picture the front part is your conscious and the back part is your subconscious. And so the front part is where only about 5 to 10% of things are happening. Your subconscious is where that quote comes in, where 95% of your brain functions. So your front part, think of it, the easiest way to look at this is it's where all your critical thinking, it's where short-term stuff happens, it's what's happening right now. The back part is when you see something enough at the front, it goes to the back and it sits there. So a great example that you can think about maybe is a vehicle. Okay, so if you have a car, which I'm sure a lot of you do, so if you have a vehicle, what you can think about when in regards to this is, when you go into your car and you first get it, you're wondering where the ignition is, you're wondering where everything is, and your conscious part of your brain, that front part, is looking and it's paying attention to everything. Eventually, you drive the car for a few days, it's like you're Mario Andretti. You know it. You're like flipping it in. You're going here. You're speeding. You're doing all the things that you shouldn't be doing with the car. So anyway, your subconscious mind has programmed everything. That's the easiest way to look at this. So when your subconscious programs it into your brain, it becomes automatic. That's the thing in business. That's the thing in risk-taking. That's the difference between a scarcity mindset versus abundance mindset. All the things that everybody in this room has seen at the front of their brain going to the back of their brain. So if you see somebody who's investing tons in real estate and you're going, how is that person who's just like me accomplishing so much? I don't understand how it happens. Their programming is different. That's all it is in regards to this. And it's what holds us back too. So if you're looking at this slide right now, one of the biggest things about your conscious mind is it tries to use willpower to control some of the things that you're thinking, your behaviors, your beliefs, and your habits. But it loses every single time to your subconscious. So everything in the back, all the things you've seen, all the things you've programmed, the way you look at the world is making your decisions. So when you're sitting here today and you're thinking, wow, I really want to change the way, I invest in real estate, or I really want to get into, let's say small homes or buying cottages or doing Airbnbs or whatever a case is, when you're looking at stuff like that, your brain, everything that you've learned consciously will either hold you back from doing it or it'll make you actually do it. So that's the difference between successful people and non-successful people as well. There's nothing smarter about some people. Trust me, we've worked with a lot of people, and we know that the conscious mind really controls a lot of things. So one of the things that we're going to dive into right now is the role of the subconscious. And again, I know I'm talking really geeky right now, but the role of the subconscious, again, is memories, telephone numbers. How did you memorize the telephone number? How do you know that? Your current behaviors, your moods, the filters, how you see the world is important. Sensations, your 5 senses live at the back of your brain. When you think intuition and your gut feelings, that's also, so today when you're sitting here, you're going to have all these gut feelings that are going to cross and you're going to go, what the heck? And they're all going to come up and that's going to be in your subconscious. And then we use the subconscious information to make quick decisions about what feels right or wrong before we see that it's logical. So I'll give you an example of that. If I was asking the room, and this is going to dumb it down a little bit for everybody because I know that this can be a little bit confusing. When you're thinking about being depressed or sad, when we think about that, we automatically, if I was to say, give me an answer, if somebody's sad and depressed, would they be smiling or would they be frowning? Right, they would be frowning. They wouldn't be smiling. They would be kind of weird if they were. We know that that's sad. If I was thinking about a depressed or sad person, would they kind of be hunched over or would they be sitting there smiling going, things are great, right? It's one or the other. We know what it is. You don't have to be sad or depressed to actually know that that's what's happening. Your subconscious mind has seen enough things on TV, in movies, and other things since you were a child to tell you what your subconscious mind is doing. So when it comes to investing in real estate or taking risk, it's no different. It's the exact same thing. Everything that you have seen, everything that you've programmed yourself goes back to your subconscious mind. It can hold you back. That's the one thing that we work on in our business coaching, is in our wealth coaching, is to take a look and say, what is holding our clientele back? What have they actually experienced? We don't need to know exactly when it started. It can be your family. I grew up in a very different environment in the sense that, like I said, it was pay your house off. It wasn't about getting investment properties. I was programmed since I was young that I probably wouldn't amount to anything in this world, and that had nothing to do with anything other than the limiting beliefs of the people who were programming me. So it was really interesting. Another good example is Starbucks. Your programming is so important that we can even go in business coaching and ask you, are you a Starbucks person? Are you a Tim Hortons person? And I have no affiliation with Starbucks whatsoever, although my accountant thinks that I own a Starbucks at this point. But anyway, if you want a $6 coffee, and you're driving in this morning and you know that it's $6 coffee, if the first thought that comes to your head is, this is expensive, this is too much, I'm not paying that. Or if you hear people talk like that, guess what? That's your programming. That's you. You're programming yourself to live in scarcity. If a $6 coffee is coming out of your mouth, that's too much, it's ridiculously priced, it's a waste of money, again, that's your programming. That's your belief system. So whether or not you believe that or not, that's all your programming. It's in your subconscious of your brain. So if you're living that way and you're thinking that, oh, okay, Starbucks is too expensive, it's a $6 coffee. If that's how you think, how are you going to get into investing? How are you going to cross that barrier? Okay, it's not a total correlation between each other, but we can see that happen in coaching. We can see when our clients don't have the guts to take the moves to things. And it's not because they're not fearless, it's because they've been programmed that way. If you have an idea where you've always wanted to start a charity, or if you heard Jim talk today and he's talking about homelessness and he's talking about affordable housing, if you have this vision in you that says that, well, you have to think in abundance. You have to see the bigger picture. So what are the choices that you do every day? Are you the person who wakes up and says, gas is so expensive, it's crazy, it's crazy, it's crazy, too expensive? Then you're actually programming your brain to think that way. Not just about gas, not just about your Starbucks coffee, about everything. So it's how your whole front, that 5% of your conscious brain will program everything in the back of your brain. The conscious mind gives you the ability to focus, imagine what's real and what's not real. And if your conscious mind thinks negative thoughts, that front thing again, then your subconscious mind will deliver the feelings. It's very simple. It gives you the emotions, it gives you the memories, everything associated with the type of thinking. Your feelings become your reality. That is the biggest difference of when you're trying to also get into real estate investing. If you're looking today and you see something that you really want to do, watch out, because that's your programming. You'll have a loop, a really interesting loop that happens of negativity, fear, and all sorts of fun stuff that do that. I'm going to tell you something kind of interesting here. What influences our programming? So back in the 1970s, before everybody here was born, there was 500 ads a day. Right now, we are looking at 5,000 plus ads per day. 5,000 alone, 200 ads to 300 ads per day are coming across your computer screen that you're actually stopping. So if you're getting 5,000 influencer ads per day, it's programming you. Kids today are being programmed remarkably different than everybody else was in this room, but we are literally being blown away by the programming. Most emotional changes are programmed in our subconscious by somebody or something else that's happened to you. Now, it can all be changed, but we've been programmed since we're children, which is really unbelievable. So I'm going to give you an example of really interesting programming. So there's a study out, I believe the study's by Harvard, and there's two people, and these two people are the exact same weight, they're the exact same size, and they wanted to lose X number of pounds. And so what they did is they said, okay, they had the same blood pressure, everything. They couldn't be more similar. And they said, here's your exercise program. We want both of you to get on a treadmill. And we want you to go in the gym, and you're going to work out the exact same time. One of you is going to be on the treadmill, and I want you to watch TV the whole time. And then the other one, they said, we want you to do your treadmill exercises, but no TV, no music, nothing. The only thing we want you to do is we want you to actually visualize losing weight. So we want you to picture fat melting off your body. And so they said, same workouts, same programs. The results were astonishing, okay? The person who visualized losing weight and fat dripping off their body, like they said, visualize it falling on the treadmill and like literally coming off the body, which is kind of gross, but whatever. Anyway, the person lost 50% more weight with the exact same program, exact same as the other person. The reason why is because the other person was watching TV. So when you're watching TV, think about it. Your brain is so powerful that when that person's watching TV, the conscious mind has watched it so much that it literally, I don't know about you guys, but when I was a kid, I watched TV and it was pretty much a sedentary thing. So the whole body reacted and said, all right, we're watching TV. It's proven that if you watch TV when you're working out, and I don't want to ruin anybody's life right now, but if you're watching TV when you're working out, you will actually go into a sedentary state. Your body and physiology, it's been so ingrained in our heads that it is a sedentary activity that it blows my mind away that people are watching TV while working out. I know personally, I've lost over 100 pounds. Those crazy marathons that I ran and everything like that was definitely not where I'm at today. So anyway, the point is that when you're doing the treadmill work and you're visualizing, the brain says, okay, losing fat, here you go. It goes to the subconscious. The subconscious part of your brain says, I'm going to make all this happen. Why is that important? It's important because when we work with people and and the reason I'm sitting here today is I want you guys to just kind of take every thought that runs through your head and ask yourself just for today and say, what did I do? Did I wake up this morning and say this is a great day? Or did I wake up today and say that today sucks because it's cold, it's freezing? Did I, what's the programming that you're always feeding your conscious part of your brain? Okay, and it's not a bad thing because it is cold. Like, let's not be hallucinogenic here. It's cold out. I get it. I'm still a little bit cold. But the truth is how you see and how your programming is will directly impact what you do in this world. If you want to live a life of abundance and you truly want to take things by the horn, which I assume that most people here on a Saturday are interested in doing, we've created enough millionaires to know that it's all in the mindset. There's nothing, no difference of talent. There's no difference of intelligence, nothing. There's zero difference. It's literally all in your mindset. And those people with the abundance mindset who wake up and, a lot of people say to me, oh my God, you're happy every day, happy every day. Listen, I have had a terrible life before 30. Okay, before I hit 30, I experienced what most people don't even ever want to experience in a lifetime. And you know what? And it was very difficult. I have had more people in business shut me down and slam doors in my face. I have had multi-million-dollar coaching programs stolen from me and literally replicated. I have had it all happen to me. You cannot possibly change my mindset. It's not possible because I wake up in the morning and I see things differently than other people do. We coach people on that. I literally don't care what happens to me at this point. Somebody smashed into my car in a parking lot in Starbucks. Ironically, I had no free coffee from that one. But anyway, somebody smashed into my car a week and a half ago, and I love my car. I worked really hard for that, and I baby that thing, and it's awesome. And you know what? They smashed into it, and I literally just water under the bridge. I'm like, you know what? It's how you look at things. It's your programming on how you do things. So if you have everything, and if those of you who have never lost everything, I've lost everything. I was homeless, and I have very rarely shared that story with anybody. I only started sharing that story recently because people started saying they wanted to hear it. I had nothing. I slept in a car. I literally had zero. I would take my showers. All I had is a gym membership. I didn't have a credit card. I was too young for that stuff. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. My entire world within 24 hours went from here to there, nothing. And so one of the things that I realized only now at this point in my life is that I had a choice. I always had a choice, and I always looked for opportunity, and I said, what am I going to do? So when you have nothing, if anything, it will scare the living, excuse my language, it will scare the shit out of you to ever invest in real estate. You will be terrified when you have nothing. When you don't have any house and you have no home and your whole entire family has just disappeared overnight, it scares you. And it really terrified me. So I had to work very hard to get over that. And that's one of the reasons why I personally started dedicating my entire life to making sure I just share the message and I start getting out there and saying, you guys really, if you are holding yourself back, you are going to really, really kick yourself in the butt later for it, because you don't have to hold yourself back. Sometimes you've been handed, like, what you're seeing and the way you see things can be changed. It all can be changed. And one of the best books out there, if you guys are ever looking for a book, you don't have to buy the book. You can actually look it up online, and there's a PDF, which I wish somebody would have told me about earlier, because I like the shortcuts. But anyway, it's called The 5 Regrets of the Dying. And The 5 Regrets of Dying is an amazing book. If you really want to look at the PDF version online of that, it just Cole's Notes version, The 5 Regrets of Dying, and it's written by a palliative care nurse. And she spent years just researching everybody and taking a look and seeing what are the regrets we have when our time is up. And it's the same, she says, for almost everybody. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys because I think you guys will, do it later on. You'll read up on it if it's worth it for you. And you know what? The truth is it's the same thing for everybody. And that's one of the things that gets me at the core. That's why I do what I do. That's why we've been able to create so many millionaires. That's why our company's expanded so quickly. And that's why we are where we are, is because every single thing that you do now is because of your programming. So don't wait until you're sitting there on your deathbed when you're 80, 90, 110 years old, whatever you live to, and sit there and say, I should have done this, I could have done that, I should have done more. That's very important. So what's your programming been like? Are you a pessimistic person or are you optimistic? Did you wake up this morning happy, or did you wake up this morning going, oh my God, I got to go till 6 o'clock tonight, this is going to be long, I hope it's worth it. You got to really look at that. Are you a negative thinker or a positive thinker? Okay, are you happiness or anger or somewhere in between? Do you see the world in abundance or do you see your world in scarcity? Do you live trying to save every penny and going, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, or I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that? Or do you see things as massively abundance? Identify where you sway and it's all improving it. And so in order to transform our world, there's some just really easy things that you guys can do. This is some of the stuff that we coach on, so consider it free, great advice. Make a choice on how you're going to think. So in today, look at everything as abundance and also really understand what we were talking about a couple minutes ago. If you have an idea in your head, it's there because you're supposed to execute it. It's there. It's not fictitious. You're not crazy. I mean, there may be a couple of you, but in general, you're not crazy. These thoughts are coming into your head because you're supposed to do something. Your whole physiological state is telling you, go ahead and do it. You have what it takes to do it. Make a choice on what thoughts you're going to allow in your mind. If you're surrounded by people who are giving you negative thoughts or not encouraging you, really be conscious about that. Control what you focus on. So really pay attention to what you're focusing on. Like I said this morning, are you the person who thinks that a $6 cup of coffee is too much, but yet you want to build financial wealth? These are parallels that you've got to look at. Control what you focus on. We covered use your imagination. The conscious mind loves imagination. So if you find that you don't know how, maybe you grew up in a different environment, maybe your environment's not what it is, maybe you have a spouse that's not really 100% on board with where you want to go with this, what I suggest is that you use your imagination with each other yourself. Create a visualization. It sounds very hokey pokey, but it is the best way to reprogram your brain. We do it with our clients all the time. We want you to do that. The subconscious mind back here, it doesn't know the difference between the truth and fake news. It doesn't know the difference. So if you program it that way, to just visualize stuff, it will reprogram you. So what I'm going to do, just to prove a little bit of a point here, is I'm actually going to get you guys to just close your eyes for a second. Yes, I'm one of those speakers who's going to do that. And it's going to be weird if you don't, so you might as well just do it. Okay, so I'm going to get you guys to close your eyes, and if you don't, I'm going to throw something at you, and that's going to hurt. Anyway, so close your eyes, and I want you to think for a second. What if you won tonight? You go home after the conference, you're jacked up, and you go home and you look at your lottery ticket. You ended up buying a lottery ticket today, and you got $65 million. You just won it. Literally, you won the lottery. $65 million in your pocket. You're going, oh my God, I have to go pick it up. Your first purchase is going to be what? Think about what you're going to buy, what you're going to do. You just won $65 million. Feel what's happening. Open your eyes. So when you open your eyes, you have feelings, okay? I feel, for some reason, I get tingly in my forearms. I don't know what that is. But when you have $65 million, and I'm proving a point about how powerful things are, you have feelings happening now. Your subconscious mind gave you the feelings that you won a lottery. You didn't, okay? So it actually thinks, your back of your head right now, it reacted, it gave you those feelings. I don't think anybody in this room, I saw some smiles, I saw some people just going, I'm thinking, all right, your brain actually thought you won the lottery. That's how powerful it is. So if you don't think that what you're doing every single day and how you're seeing things is giving you a reaction in the back of your head, if you don't think that everything that you see, your influences and how you choose to see things, if you don't think that your subconscious mind is controlling everything, go back to that Buddha picture, that's exactly what's happening. The little Buddha picture is telling you 95% of your decisions and the way you treat your life, your business, your financial wealth is happening because of the program you have. So that's how powerful your mind really is. So here's 3 questions I'm going to leave you guys with. First question, and this is just a snapshot. I would love to talk to you all day about this, but it's hard to get the brain in 30 minutes or less. How might the information you've stored during your lifetime be holding you back from having the life you want right now? When you consider your daily and weekly routines, that's the Starbucks example that we're using, the regular repeat occurrences, what information is being repeatedly embedded within your decision-making subconscious mind? What's happening with you? Are you the happiest person in the room or the most miserable person in the room? Do you want financial wealth, but yet everything that you do in the day shows that you really aren't committed to it? If our subconscious mind back here is processing way more information, those 5,000 ads a day that we're seeing, that our conscious is even aware of having stored, how do we ensure the information that we're storing is conducive to us achieving happiness and success rather than what we're doing is sabotaging it? So thank you very much. Have an amazing day, guys. Happy investing.